Okay, so we start with matrix algebra part 2. A brief recapitulation of the previous part as well as the new topics will also be discussed in today's class. Okay, so a matrix is nothing but a rectangular presentation of symbols or numerical elements arranged in systematic way in rows and columns, and it can be seen in the example given below as 1, 2, 3, 4. We can also have equations which can be transformed into matrices, and they are known as coefficient matrices. Here we can see the coefficients of x, y, z are as 2, minus 3, 1 for the first equation, and 4, 5 and minus 3. So they form the coefficient. Thus the matrix will be a 2 cross 3, that is 2 rows and 3 columns. First we write the number of rows and then the columns. So we have 2 minus 3 1 in the first row and 4 5 minus 3 in the second row. Also, when we have a single entry, it can also be considered as a matrix. It will be a 1 cross 1 matrix, that is 1 row 1 column. Again, as it was mentioned in the previous episode, matrix is always denoted by a capital letter. The elements inside will be denoted by small letters. The number of rows will be represented by small m and the number of columns by small n. We can use other variables also, as in p, q, r, s, anything, but they will be in small letters. So a matrix can be expressed in the form given below, as in m rows and m columns matrix can be written in this form. That is, the first row will comprise of a11, 12, 1j, 1n. First column will be 1, 1, 2, 1, I1, M1, and the last element being AMN. Different types of matrix. The very first basics were discussed in the previous one, but we'll have a recapitulation of that as well. The first type was a square matrix, where the number of rows become equal to the number of columns, that is M cross N matrix. There the M becomes equal to N. So we have that as a square matrix. 1 cross 1, 2 cross 2, 3 cross 3, 4 cross 4. Any such matrix is a square matrix. Next, we come across to row matrix and column matrix. As in example given over here, row matrix consists of a single row which has elements A, B, C, D. But we have 4 columns in that particular example. A is column 1, B is column 2, C is column 3 and D is column 4. Similarly, when we discuss the column matrix, in that case, look to the example, we will find that there is a single column comprising of A11, 21 and 31, but 3 rows. Each row comprises one A11, second A21 and last A31. Next, we come across to diagonal matrix. Diagonal matrix has the principal diagonal. These will be non-zero elements. All the other elements will be 0. A corollary of a diagonal matrix is a unit matrix. And of course, here we will see that the value over here will be 1 in the principal diagonal and all the other values will be 0. Please keep this thing in mind, and in fact we can write this unit matrix in the form of simply either I3 or I2. That means 2 cross 2 is not required or 3 cross 3 is not required, since it's a square matrix. So it will be the same row and column. The last one being the zero matrix or the null matrix. It can be either a rectangular or a square matrix. That is, the row and the order may be equal or unequal, but all the elements will be equal to 0. This was a brief recapitulation of the previous episode. Now we start. Another vital point, that is a triangular matrix. What is a triangular matrix? A matrix where the elements are 0 according to the superiority of the order of their rows m and n is called a triangular matrix. Now, this seems to be really a tricky one if we go by the bookish language. Let me just give you an example of it to make you understand what it exactly means. Okay.
Here see, we have a M cross N matrix. The principal diagonal is 1, 1, 2, 2, Aij, Amn. This is the principal diagonal. All the elements present above the principal diagonal are non-zero, and all the elements present below the principal diagonal are 0. So, if the order of row is greater than the order of the column of an element 0, then it is called the upper triangular matrix. Here see, all the elements present in the lower half is 0, and the other half, maybe few elements are 0 but not all. So this is a upper triangular matrix. Similarly, a lower triangular matrix will be what? The lower half will be non-zero, whereas the upper half will be 0. So this is a lower rectangular matrix. Now, if we have a 3 cross 3 matrix, which is the first one, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, 1. I'm going row wise. I take few elements from this and have another matrix 2 cross 2. That is 3, 1, 2, 1. So this represents a submatrix, right? Next, we come across to scalar matrix. Okay, what do we mean by scalar matrix? In fact, actually, it is a scalar multiplication. We take a square matrix, anything we can take in form of any such thing. Now, we simply multiply a particular scalar with all the elements present in the matrix. So, then we say that it is a scalar matrix. As an example, a square matrix, when given in the form of a scalar multiplication to an identity or a unit matrix, it is called the scalar matrix. We all know that a scalar matrix or a unit matrix, I mean to say a unit matrix of the order 2 cross 2 will be 1, 0, 0, 1, right? Now if I multiply A to it, A will be multiplied to all the rows and all the columns. Since multiplying any scalar with 0 gives us 0, so obviously the second term in the first row and the first term in the second row are 0. But since we have 1 and 1 in the principal diagonal, they will be multiplied with the scalar A, and we have A0, 0A as the scalar matrix. We can also say a diagonal matrix is all diagonal elements are equal is called a scalar matrix. Right? Here you can see diagonal matrix 0, 0 is present in all the other elements other than the principal diagonal, and the principal diagonal both the elements are A, so we can say it's a scalar matrix as well. Okay. Now again in question they will not mention that what is a symmetric matrix. They will simply say that let A be a symmetric matrix. We need to know what a symmetric matrix means. Okay. We consider a square matrix A of the form Aij, where obviously I and j are your number of rows and j is number of columns we are considering, and aij are any such elements from ith row and jth column we are considering, right? Now for each I and j, if aij is equal to aji, we say that the matrix is a symmetric matrix. How do we explain that? Please look into the example of this. See, if we consider the first element 5, right? It is A11. So obviously this is a case of aii. But we are considering only aij's and ji's. That is, I and j are not equal. So the principal diagonal is left out, right? 5, 6 and 5 is left out. Now, where do we come across? We come across the second element of the first row. Second element of the first row. What is that element known as? It is known as A12. Over here, please see A12 is equal to the number 2. Similarly, when we come to the second row, its first element is A21. That is also 2. So here we see A12 is 2. Again A21 is 2. So A12 is equal to A21. Hence, we see that over here it follows the pattern of symmetric matrix. That is Aij is equal to Aji. Please observe for the other elements as well. Over here you will see all of them following the same norm. That is, when we consider A13 and 31, that is the third element of the first row and the first element of the third row, both of them are 1. So A13 is equal to A31. Similarly, the third element of the second row is minus 1, and the second element of the third row is again minus 1. So A23 and A32 are equal. Hence, it is following all the properties of symmetric matrix. Right? Next, we come to the complex conjugate of a matrix. In general, most of our universities or boards do not deal with this particular thing, but just for your information purpose, since we are all dealing with real numbers, so complex numbers doesn't come into existence for the time being, but for your knowledge you can go in through the reference of this one. That is, here we are considering the complex conjugate as A and A dashed. Right? You can see in the example and you will very well understand what does it mean. Okay, now we come to skew symmetric matrix. Just keep one thing in mind. Skew symmetric matrix has the same property as a symmetric matrix. Only one thing you have to keep in mind is that Aij is equal to minus Aji. Right? As an example over here you had Aij is equal to Aji. Here we will have Aij equal to minus Agi. Also, in a skew symmetric matrix, the primary or the principal diagonal will be 0. So please see here, the second element of the first row is minus 6. The first element of the second row is plus 6. So here A12 is equal to minus A21. Right? So this is the property of skew symmetric matrix. So that's it for today. We have done a brief discussion regarding the different types of matrix. In the next class, please do follow. We will be discussing regarding the different types of matrix operations. There comes the different numerical sums that we have to understand so that we can do well in our exam. Thank you. Okay. Welcome back. As discussed in the previous class on matrices, in the previous class we had discussed regarding the different types of matrix. What were they? Like we had discussed just a brief summary in nutshell. We had discussed regarding scalar matrices. We had discussed regarding unit matrix. We had discussed regarding square matrices, diagonal matrices, symmetric matrices, skew symmetric matrices. Please, if you have not followed up, please do look into the previous video so that you can get the entire knowledge on the different types of matrices. Without the entire knowledge on the types of matrices, it will be impossible for you to understand how matrix operations are done. So here we start with the very basic, that is matrix addition. As I said that in the previous class we had discussed regarding order of matrix. Just let me give you again a brief summary on the order of matrices. Order of a matrix is defined by M cross N, where M for Mumbai, represents the number of rows present in the matrix, and N for Nagpur, represents the number of columns. Now, we need to take the addition of two matrices. In this case, the very primary thing without which matrix addition as well as subtraction will not be possible, that is, if we take two matrices A, always in capital denotation, matrix is denoted, capital A and capital B, both of them needs to be of the same order. That is, the number of rows of A should be equal to the number of rows of B, and the number of rows, columns of A should be equal to the number of columns of B. Look here, we have taken a simple example. A and B both are square matrices, that is, both has two rows and two columns. So A is of order 2 cross 2, B is of order 2 cross 2. The first row of A is 1, 2, second row is 3, 4, that of B is 5, 6 and 7, 8. When we take the addition, we have to keep in mind that the final resultant will also be of the same order. That is, there will be 2 rows and 2 columns. We cannot have extra rows, extra columns, or less number of rows and less number of columns. Right? So here, how will we take the addition? Simply add 1 with 5 and write it corresponding to the first element of the resultant matrix. Similarly, add 2 with 6, 3 with 7 and 4 with 8. So the resultant matrix is 6, 8, 10, 12. Please check it. At times, we also get confused with the numeric values, and at times we do make silly mistakes. So here you see 1 plus 5 is definitely 6, 2 plus 6 is 8, 3 plus 7 is 10, 4 plus 8 is 12. So the resultant matrix C, which is 2 cross 2 again, is of this form. Subtraction again, they need to be of same order. Similar thing will be there. See, B and A I have taken. What we need to do? Obviously, the resultant matrix again will be of 2 cross 2 order. The first element of the first matrix will be subtracted from the first element of the matrix A. Similarly, all the elements. So here we have 5 minus 1, 6 minus 2, 7 minus 3 and 8 minus 4. So the resultant being 4, 4, 4, 4. So again, to check whether it's correct or not. All of you can verify. Very simple figures given. We can have negative values also inside the matrix. So instead of say the first element as 5, if we would have had 0, so 0 minus 1 would have given us minus 1 as the first element of C. So this can be also an example. Now, very important thing is matrix multiplication. Most of the students get very confused with matrix multiplication, and when we check the scripts, we find that there are weird answers, and in fact, we get very confused at times ourselves that whether we are correct or wrong, right? So please follow this properly. Firstly, when we are taking two matrix multiplications, the first matrix and the second matrix need not be of the same order, right? We do not have to have a m cross n and m cross n as in case of addition and subtraction. But what is vital, please check to what has been written in the PPT. The number of columns in the first matrix needs to be equal to the number of rows of the second one. We are not bothered with the number of rows of the first matrix and number of columns of the second matrix. We are only bothered with the number of columns of the first matrix and number of rows of the second matrix. These two needs to be equal. If they are equal, matrix multiplication is feasible. If not, we cannot get any answer. And in fact, you need to write the answer that matrix multiplication in such a case is not possible. We do get questions in this form as well. So here, please look here. Here we have taken a simple example. Very simple example. We have taken 2 cross 2 matrix, 2 cross 2 matrix. So obviously number of columns of the first matrix is 2, number of rows of the second matrix is 2. So 2 cross 2 matrix multiplication in this case is feasible. Look to how we are getting the values here. What we do is that for the very first element, we will take the first row of the first matrix and the first column of the second matrix, and we will multiply the two consecutive values. How will we do that? See, C11 will be taken as, that is the first element of the matrix C, is 5 into 1. That is 5 is the first element of the first matrix into first element of the second matrix. We are taking the first row of the first matrix and first column of the second matrix. 5, 6 and 1, 3. So 5 into 1 plus 6 into 3. That is the second element of the first row and the second element of the first column of B. That is 6 into 3. This will give the first element of C. That is C11. Since we have no further element present in A or in B, we end over here as C11 over here. Next we go to the next element, that is C12. That is the second element of the first column of C. How do we go about? We go about the first row and of A and the second column of B. We have highlighted that with red and blue. Please check here. So 5 into 2 plus 6 into 4 will give us C12. Right? Similarly, C13 will be given as 7, 8, the second row of A and the first column of B. So we get 7 into 1 plus 8 into 3. And please all of you do tell me what will be C22. Yes, you're right. It will be 7, 8 and 2, 4. So 7 into 2 plus 8 into 4. Hence the resultant is this. Please do check whether it's correct or not. Right? Again, please look at the highlighted orders of A, B and C. As I mentioned that N represents here the number of columns of A and N represents the number of rows of B. They need to be equal. So A can be M cross N, B can be N cross P, where M and P are any arbitrary numbers. It need not be a square matrix, right? So here we have to keep in mind that the number of columns of A is equal to number of rows of B. So they are both NN. Only for M and P, that is the number of rows of A and number of columns of P, will be the order of the resultant one. That is M cross P will be the order of C. Since in the example everything was 2 cross 2 order, so obviously the resultant matrix is the 2 cross 2 order. There is 2 rows and 2 columns. Right? Okay. Next is inverse of a matrix. Inverse of a matrix will be very much important while finding out simultaneous equation solving them. But before going into inverse of a matrix, we need to understand few other concepts. They are your adjoint of a matrix, minor of a matrix and determinant of a matrix. So before going into the details of that, we will go over to
Watch the next video for the continuation of this chapter.